I'm Joanna Simpson here at Risk Minds International in London. Joining me now is Eriola Beetz, Partner and Managing Director at BCG. So just tell me a little bit about what you're looking forward to at this event.
Well, first of all, I'm very happy to be here. Lots of energy. It's been already quite an intense day. What I'm looking forward to, well, it's great that this conference actually brings together not only risk professionals now, but climate professionals as well. My very big interest is climate, and it's been very interesting to see how climate risk has taken center stage in the recent, I'd say, couple of years. And now, if you look at the participants of this conference and also in the events that are organized in this conference, climate risk and now nature risk are taking quite a big material part of what's being discussed, which is fantastic. And we're also seeing people representing the business and representing sustainability into a risk conference, which is really great to see. So really looking forward to the climate-focused events.
And the panel that you were moderating was entitled, "What role does risk management need to play in identifying and mitigating greenwashing?" So what's the role of risk management here?
Yes, so risk plays a very important role in greenwashing. Greenwashing is a type of risk that banks are tackling more and more, I would say, in the last couple of years. There's been a lot of press around it. One example is sustainable finance. So a lot of banks have made quite a lot of climate commitments, and one of those commitments is to provide sustainable finance to their clients. Now, what you call sustainable finance is the key, and in this space that is very rapidly evolving, there are no common standards, there is no common taxonomy that banks can use, so it's not very clear. There's ambiguity around what you can include in your sustainable finance envelope and what you cannot. And from a risk perspective, there's been quite a lot of discussion around, is this real, genuine, sustainable finance, or are we just greenwashing? So the trade-offs here that risk and business have to think about is you can put very, very strict controls and make sure that the bank is safe and that all is labeled correctly, but that does run the risk of creating a huge administrative burden for the business, and also it kind of strangles your commercial opportunity if you're extremely stringent. So you need to walk that fine balance between making sure that commercially the opportunity is a viable opportunity, but also from a risk perspective we keep the bank safe. So risk management, quite crucial in that topic.
And reflecting on this past year regarding everything that's happening around ESG and climate, what have been some key or pivotal moments?
Yeah, so quite a few come to mind. I mean, I think the geopolitical situation that we're facing has put an energy security on the table, which in some cases in the short term has slowed down some of the climate considerations. To solve the climate problem, what we will need is cooperation. That's cooperation at a scale which has never happened before across countries, across supply chains, across organizations, across the private sector, between the private sector and the public sector. It's quite a complex exercise, and I think the geopolitical situation hasn't helped with that. Another pivotal moment on the positive side has been, I would say, the IRA, and one of the biggest hindrances we have had in climate is that it is in a lot of cases economically unviable to invest in climate projects, and the IRA tackled exactly that head on and has made quite a few projects that were not in the money before in the money now. And one I'm particularly looking forward to is COP28. COP28 is the stock take COP. We will see where we stand. I am sure that it will say, we'll find that we have a very large challenge lying ahead of us, but I'm very much looking forward to see all the participants trying to work together and work out a solution in many of the areas we're discussing.
And nature and biodiversity are also key. How heavily are they featuring on companies' agendas?
Not enough, I would say. What's been very positive is that nature has become part of a lot of banks, in particular financial institutions, planning and strategy now in a very big way. We don't see much commitments out there in the public domain. However, that is not to say that not a lot of work is happening behind the scenes in order to address nature. And if I compare this to climate, in climate we had this amazing positive energy and lots of banks made this huge commitments, in a way almost ahead of kind of fully understanding the business implications of those commitments. So the numbers were almost done kind of to solve for that. And in nature, banks are trying to avoid that situation. So saying, okay, let us do the math, let's see what the key trade-offs are, let's have a path to solving these trade-offs before we commit. And so it's great to see that that's featuring quite prominently in a lot of strategies of a lot of banks. However, the focus is on climate. I think nature is going to be equally, if not more important. So I do think that the balance still needs to be redressed in some ways.
And AI is another hot topic. In the future, what role do you see it having in the industry?
Well, I think in ESG, quite a big one. I could give some examples. So AI is very useful when you have loads of information and you need to summarize it and you need to make sense of it quite quickly in a timely fashion, real time. And climate is one of those areas where there's just a ton of information. Well, like some examples are that different countries are walking at different speeds. For example, emerging economies, Europe, US, China, India, all walking at different speeds, all producing tons of information out there. Sort of sorting through that and having that at fingertips is quite important. And an example is a relationship manager working on the ground, talking to their clients and wanting to be relevant to those clients and wanting to be up to speed with the latest and greatest news information impacting that particular client, but also the industry. That's just a lot of information to absorb, and I think even the sources of the information is just such a large list that you're probably going to miss some of them. So I think the role of AI, for example, in summarizing, synthesizing that real time will be quite important. And I think absorbing, a lot of the information that risk managers are looking at, that businesses are looking at, that finance are looking at, that would be quite a jump in productivity.
Eriola Beetz, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.